We are live. We are live. We are live. And we are also testing out some new technology. So bear with me. But if you are here on time, apologize for being a few minutes late. To me, on time is 5 minutes early. So also checking out to make sure it's live over in LinkedIn land. People were telling me they had comments, and I'm trying to be participatory. Let's see here in the comments, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Like, if I can help people in real time, let's do it. So we're going to test that out. I'm going to be looking over here every once in a while just to check out comments. If there's comments or questions or concerns and you're here, let's participate together. I would love to help you pull all of this hustle mindset, momentum mindset. How do I experience it all, attain it all, do it all without being frustrated or heading down the road of burnout, right? Because at the end of the day, it's what we are creating, a life worth living, right? Both in business and in life. So today we're talking about the hustle versus smart growth and how to cultivate sustainable growth, sustainable success, because I've seen it time and time again. I've done it myself where I've like hit the mountaintop and then it felt like the mountain just disappeared, right? It wasn't like I slid down the backside of the mountain. It was like a drop. And that was because I burned out twice in my career. One thing I want to say before we start this episode is that earlier in a podcast on Courageous and Free with Jacqueline Mack, there was an episode that I wish everybody knew and still had access to today, because sometimes things get buried in the episodes. Take a peek at episode 9. You get to have it all and be it all without justifying or without having to do it all, because that's where the burnout comes in. And I was just talking with a coaching client earlier this week on their monetary goals for this year with their business, and how they were like, I can't wait to have X amount of dollars per month coming in consistently. And I was like, oh, isn't that interesting? Let's reverse engineer this. What's going to be required for you to do? And B, meaning how you show up, what you stand for, what you don't stand for. And so we're looking at, as she was looking at it, as a have, do, be. Once I have this much, I will do the things, and then I will be happy, richer, more successful. And it's old school paradigms. It's old school thinking. And I can tell you from firsthand experience and through my clients, it doesn't have to be that way. It's more of the be. Who are you being? How are you showing up? What are you feeling? As if it's already happening, which is the part that confuses the mind, because the mind's like, I've never done that before. I know what's familiar, and what's familiar is predictable and safe. And what you're putting out there as a new goal, whether it's something just a small step up from where you are or the like next level quantum leap success, the mind is like, that's not familiar. Mayday, mayday. So the being part is step one, and the awareness of that and how to do that. I do that with all of my clients who go through the Rise Up, which, by the way, there's the Rise Up self-study. So if you're like, oh, yes, that's me. I would like to better learn how to be, do, and have, and make that consistent. Because then the doing, the how comes simple, and the consistency and the commitment to that is key, obviously, to create that simplicity. I'm not saying it's always easy. For some it is, for some it isn't, but the consistency allows the ease. And then you have. It really can be that simple. It really is that matter of fact based in science, but most people like to complicate it without realizing it and go reverse. So go check out that episode 9, and I promise you will love it. Now, today we're talking about the myth of the hustle culture. Breaking down the hustle culture is huge for me because it's why I burned out. I gravitated towards the hustle. I love the hustle. I was one of those students that waited to the last minute to do reports and projects because my best work came from the quick speediness of the last minute hustle and grind. So what happened was that culture gained popularity. And then people like Gary Vee, not poo-pooing him because I love him dearly. I think he's a great guy. He's a great multiple entrepreneurial business dude with so much experience and expertise. But He's one of those people. I've worked for people. I've consulted. I've been on teams. Even up until last year, some of my clients, this was their way or the highway. And I was like, okay, it's not my value system. But if this is part of your culture, I will make sure whatever trainings I have touch on it. But there's a better way. You can have it and not burn out too. So my spin on the hustle is to create sprints, like the heartbeats. Sprint, recover, sprint, recover, sprint, recover. That's how you're going to prevent burnout. Now, not always does it prevent burnout, because some people are like, I can just go a little further. I can just push a little more. I can just go a little longer. And they're not listening to what? Their body, their clients, their team. And then when multiple people are burning out at once, we have a big, big crisis, right? So when you look at leadership, when you look at entrepreneurship, that's been the trend, is that hustle culture, right? The truth is speed does win. And this is that fine line. I've been talking a lot about the fine line between, hustle and speed. And what's that difference? Perseverance and insanity. And what's the difference? And it's like, it's a combination of both, but in your own way, while staying grounded, while staying harmonious, not necessarily balanced, because there's no such thing as true balance, but creating the grace and the space to understand how you can use the strategies to benefit from both. So the truth is speed does win, and money loves speed, right? So you can scale rapidly by glorifying the hustle, or you can face the crash and burn of the outdated business model that isn't sustainable, because it's inevitable. It's just a matter of when. I'm not going to call out some people that I worked with, but they know who they are. They might listen to this podcast, they might not. But people who are doing hundreds of millions of dollars in the online space, $20 million months, $100,000 months. I've seen it from time to time again. I've seen it cause autoimmune disorder. I've seen it cause a breakdown where they totally leave the business and they just let their team fend for it, keep it afloat, quote unquote, and then they either return or they don't and they sell it. There's so many models that I've seen. I'm just like, wow, that's not sustainable. Like, why did you even build your business in the first place? And I ask my clients that when they're in this stuck phase or in this like I'm burned out phase. It takes them a second to like remember their why, when the why should have been the reason every single day when they woke up. The why should have been in like top of mind, every single call, every single action, every single tedious task or mega momentum builder that they put their mind to. So the key takeaway from today is hustle is good for short-term momentum. So there you go, like a sprint. I'm not bashing the hustle. There's a time and a place when you can do it strategically and it can help build the long-term success, but hustling consistently is not a long-term success strategy for a sustainable business, period. And if anybody wants to trump me on that, I'm up for the debate. Always. Healthy debates are the way we grow and evolve, right? So why money loves speed? Let's talk about this a little bit. Money loves speed and hustling isn't speed. Money loves speed, but hustling is not speed. Think about this. Money loves speed, meaning taking quick, consistent, intentional ROI, return on intention, not just investment, in your decisiveness in action. When you are a decision master, when you know what you want, why you want it, what you stand for, what you don't, and you're out there and you're not, oh, I need to think about it. Oh, I really love to do this, but, right? Every single time you say, but, and, or, you're giving your power away, right? So when you're taking that consistent, quick, decisive action, you're not overworking or overthinking. This is the new ROI. This is the new return on intention, where speed meets working smarter, not harder. Who would love that? Sign me up. I've been building this out for over a decade and it works every single time. Here's a real example. Look at how entrepreneurs like Sara Blakely, which I love dearly. She's the creator of Spanx. For the men who are listening, you're probably, what the heck is Spanx? It's an undergarment that makes the body look good and sucks everything in without having to actually suck it in. So Sara built her brands by focusing on clarity and execution rather than sheer hustle. Now, she looks like she hustled and it just overnight, boom, success. That's not the story. Go listen to documentaries, biographies, or some of the most successful people and find out how many times the hustle was sustainable. I found zero. Now, maybe they hustled for a couple months, maybe they hustled for a year and a half, but find me a business that hustled for more than a year or 2 or 3 that was still sustainable without hiring in other people to take over parts of the hustle, right? Now, here's the contrast to that. You have a small business owner who finally goes for the dream and starts the business, has this genius idea, and it's like, yes, this is what I want to do. This is what I desire. They create time and like money freedom. And this is all in the dream, right? Time, money freedom, creating that while also giving an impact to the world. Only to what? Become an employee of their own business and to eventually want to throw in the towel or burn the thing to the ground. So many of my clients, unfortunately, have found me at that moment. And they found me because they were ready to throw in the towel. They're like, well, it's not a business because the sales aren't moving, or I haven't sold anything in a while, or my offer must suck. And at the end of the day, it's not the offer. Could it be some of your sales skills? Sure. Could it be some of the ways you're presenting the offer? Absolutely. So this is why people jump into my magnetic offer sessions where we give you the framework, where we map it out and I ask you the quality questions of the things. It clears away everything else that you think you need to do, that you think you need to think about, and has you laser focused on the main thing being the main thing. Because at the end of the day, a business isn't a business without sales. And it's really hard to get sales without marketing, connection. And you might think content, I'm going to throw content in there. Content's icing on the cake. At the end of the day, it's your connection and it's the conversions. The connection and the conversion. So if you are thinking, I have so much content to do, I have a website to build, I have so many like offers to test out, please jump on a magnetic offer call with me while they're still available, while I'm in this grace period of clients wrapping up, new clients coming in, and I have the time available for something like this. Because there are going to be seasons where I don't offer this. And you're going to hear this episode and be like, but you mentioned the magnetic offer session. I did. And you get those with a 5-week sprint. And you get those when you're in my Rise Up. And you get those when you're in my Bespoke High Ticket Closer 6-month, 12-month agreements, commitments, experiences, where I get to be in your pocket for a whole 6 months or a whole year. And we get to make sure this is all dialed in so that you're not going for the dream finally, desiring time freedom, money freedom, and massive impact, only to become a frustrated, burned out employee because the hustle and grind only works for so long. And here's the other thing. I've done this more times than I want to admit, but you know me, I'm very transparent. I'm at the age in my life, I'm at the level of my business where it's like, I have nothing to do but share so that you can prevent these mistakes. They're not mistakes, they're not failures, they're just mistakes that I took. I don't regret them, but I love the fact that I can share them with you so that you don't have to take the same misaction to lead you down some of the things that maybe you didn't want to experience. But when you are, it's like life's happening for you, right? And the sad thing is most people do throw in the towel and then they regret it for life. I should have never done that thing. I should have never overworked. I should have never did this or did that. And I should have prioritized it more. I should have just learned how to focus on what mattered and move the needle. I should have. And they should have, could have, would have all over themselves. And that's when I'm like, whoa, let's pause. Find me. Find a mentor, find a coach that's been there, that's done that, that can help guide you along the way. Because I promise you, success can happen a million different strategies. Every strategy out there that's been proven works. It's just which one is aligned with you to work. And sometimes you're an innovator and you don't even realize it. Like me, I was like, well, I want to try that and I want to try that, but then I really want to try that? No. What if I could just do this? What if I never posted on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn or all the things? And what if I just make connection, helped people and closed all day, every week, every month? And then what if all the things that just felt right for me because I'm a trailblazer, I'm an innovator, I'm a connector, and I create massive momentum in people's lives and businesses because the business is taking massive momentum. So is your life. That's the best part. And when you're on the wave of momentum versus the hustle, it feels extremely different. There's no pressure. There's no heaviness. It's light. It's free. It's why we signed up to be an entrepreneur in the first place. Would you agree? So I want to mention a quote here from Bill Gates. One of his secrets to success. This is a secret to success from the Bill Gates, which shocked me back in my make it happen mama days, right? I would always hire a lazy person to do a difficult job at Microsoft because a lazy person will find an easy way to do it. Easy, efficient. Those words go hand in hand. So when we're thinking hustle, when we're thinking grind, when do we give ourselves a day to be innovative, to be creative, to think outside the box, to feel into something, to not have the pressure to get it all done, but how can we look at a way that makes this more efficient and effective, not only for our business, but our clients, and solving the problems and the challenges that are keeping them up at night. So if you take anything around this first segment, speed is making fast, intentional decisions consistently. And like, how do you know to be fast with decision mastery? How do you not let something like stifle you or stall you? Because that's the opposite of hustle, is massive stall, right? And delay is the big dream killer of all dream killers. There's always the 3-4 big D's I've talked about in another episode that will crush all dreams silently without you even really knowing. It's like a slow suffocation, which again, so many entrepreneurs feel and suffer from just because they didn't know how to master their decision-making skills. So it's not grinding endlessly without focus, and it's not grinding and hustling without the clarity towards a deadline. It's that speed to make fast, intentional decisions. What is the cost of hustling? Well, this one's the obvious. If you haven't experienced burnout, I'll tell you right now, that's the cost. Missed opportunities, tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue. That's the cost of hustling when burnout shows up. Now, I want to share the real toll on the hustle culture, including burnout, health problems, missed opportunities for innovation, because the only way to avoid the grind, which leads to burnout and being what some call a one-hit wonder, many of those, right? One must embrace what it takes to be an innovator, a trailblazer. Especially when you think you've mastered some skills. Mastery is a consistent thing. It's not like check the box one I've done. I've mastered piano playing, or I've mastered karate, or I've mastered sales, or I've mastered marketing. It's a consistent, intentional practice. And this is why yogis call it a yoga practice, because it's the masters of the world still practice every day, right? Real example to this would be Arianna Huffington, right? When she experienced that collapse from exhaustion, her body physically couldn't take anymore, which inspired her to start prioritizing what? Wellness. And that's when she launched Thrive Global. Hello, how do you thrive? Well, first of all, you got to be alive, right? You got to be alive to thrive. So let's talk about when, there's been times in my own experience where I said yes to many things, and the price I had to pay and what it cost me. It would cost me time, it cost me energy, it cost me relationships. And the thing that hits me the hardest, and thank God, this is what I thank my children for, was when I was doing high ticket sales for an amazing company, still really good friends with his company and the owner and his team. One day I was doing some sales calls in my office, and my daughter, she's probably about 2, 3 at the time, comes in, lays her head on my lap and just says, "Mommy, when are you going to be done? When are you going to come out of this office and come play with me?" And I looked into her eyes and I did everything. I can even feel a lump in my throat sharing this. Everything to hold back the tears, because I didn't want her to see mommy as weak. I didn't want her to see mommy as, oh crap, my kid's calling me out on some of my own stuff. And yet I am so grateful that she did that, because she was the voice of my values when I didn't even notice that I was compromising my values. My values. So why do you want more money? Why do you want more time? And what is that costing you? And if you had more money and you had more time, what would you even do with it? What would you literally do with it? Specific, juicy specifics Oh, I would save more. Oh, I would take more trips. No, what would saving more do for you? What would taking more trips with loved ones do for you? What would the experiences cause for you as fulfillment in your life? This one precious gift that we have, and we don't know when we're taking our last breath. We don't know. And I'll bring this up again. This wasn't even a topic that I wanted to share, but it's landing really, really well for me right now and possibly for you. It's the tragedy of life is not death. Like most of us don't start fearing death until we're given a diagnosis or we're quote unquote older and we're like, oh shit, the average person only lives to 80 something and I'm 79. We don't really even think about that, right? The tragedy of life is not death, especially if you believe in an afterlife, especially if you believe in a God and source and universe. Because at the end of the day, the tragedy of life is not living out according to your own expectations, not living out a fulfilled life, hustling and grinding for somebody else's dream or hustling and grinding for what you thought was your dream. But here you are, a slave to your own business. And it's costing you more than the money. It's costing you relationships and it's costing your health and possibly your life. Hustling keeps you so busy that you miss the bigger picture. And most of the time, it's because people aren't clear what their bigger picture is. They're living the old paradigms of what success actually is according to somebody else's standards, old standards of accumulation of things versus accumulation of days that are fully fulfilled. Because to me, success isn't success without fulfillment. Period. End of story. And what you're not changing today, you're choosing. So if you're like, oh, if this was just different, okay, change it. Well, but giving your power away and giving more power away. But you don't understand circumstance, situation, giving your power away. Everything's freaking figure outable. I think that came from Marie Forleo, so I'm giving her a shout out. Yes, and if you took Tony Robbins, Marie Forleo, maybe a little bit of Oprah, a lot of Joe Dispenza, Gabby Bernstein, smushed them all together and created a baby. Hello, welcome to my world. Welcome to all the tools and resources you could possibly need, let alone you think you need them, you don't, but you desire them and you deserve them to live your best life in both business and your personal life. So when you miss the opportunity of the bigger picture or the opportunity to pivot or the chance to scale with less effort, that's what's the cost of the hustling. It keeps you busy, but you miss the freaking out on the things that matter most. All right, next segment 4, and I'm going to start to go a little faster here. So I apologize, and I might come back and I might take one of these segments and make a whole nother podcast out of it based on your feedback. If you want me to go a little deeper in any of these, let me know. Aligned action. Here's the tools to overcome the hustle, the smarter path to success in 2025 for you and beyond. Because my number one strategy is to immediately find any and all areas you can buy back time. Write that down. Where can you buy back time? Can you pick your stuff up from Sam's Club instead of going in? Can you hire someone to clean your house? Can you get that membership to the car wash place that I love and use all the time, right? Can you hire that VA that you've been talking about? Once I hit this, then I'll hire. No, you don't. It's the have, do, be that messes everybody up. No, not once you have it. Make decisions as if you already have it. Make decisions from your future self. What would your future self thank you for? They would buy back the time. That's the bottom line. And this was a strategy I delayed doing being a high performer. I was super stubborn. Yes, I am a Taurus. And the high performing burnt me out. You can only perform so much without burning out, right? And then it's just inevitable. So who thought and said I had to do it all? Me. Most of the pressure came from me internally. How many of you create more pressure on yourself than anyone could ever put on you? Or maybe there's a couple people in your life that put a little pressure on you and then you take it to the next level. It was almost like a badge of honor for me to do it all alone. Look what I did. This is what I can do. And if I can do it, you can too. But then I was like, whoa, but if I did this and burnt out, you will too. Like, whoa, rewind, burn the tape. Let's start over. This is why my program, yes, it's for high performers. Yes, it's for type A's. Yes, it's for recovering perfectionists and people pleasers and all the things, because it's now all about possibility and potentiality, not just being a high performer. And can you sprint in your high performance times? Yes. But I beg you, don't wait to buy back your time and hire things out. And this is what I got from the book, Buy Back Time, by the way, by Mr. Dan. Even if someone, and this is my recovering perfectionist, does something 80% as good as me, I'm hiring them. Because look how much time I get back. I can't tell you how many people right now who are like, I want to sell for you. I have 3 people right now, which like I pinch myself. I'm like, awesome. Let me dial in my lead strategy so I can hire all 3 of you. Again, lead strategy, marketing, sales, different compartments, but all entirely dependent on each other. You have no sales, you don't have no marketing team. You can't pay the marketing team. You need the marketing to get the sales, right? Not even to create, to attract, to pull in those people that really desire what you have because you are their person. At the end of the day, let's let go of that badge of honor, right? Because that's a lie. No one's going to give you a gold star. And if anything, it's going to cause more problems in your business and your health. So I say delegate and hire out. But be super clear on what and why, and knowing it full body what it feels like to experience the goals and desires without sacrificing what matters most. If you're going to hire out, you have to do that part first. If you need help with that, I do vision activation calls. Jump on those. I've had people like that's literally what ignited them to have their best year yet. And to let go of the rest, to set those boundaries, to honor and release, and to live integrity, to no longer assume. And every day just got better and better because they knew what to decide upon. They knew what they were focusing on. They knew everything that wasn't a heck yes was just a no. And they were no longer wasting time justifying, explaining, feeling bad, blah, blah, blah. Notice that I said only after the clarity, not after making X amount of money, or not after building a rock solid, well-known brand, or after blah, 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 you insert your limiting belief and where you're giving your power away. Like literally stop this recording when you go back and listen right here and check yourself before you wreck yourself. Where have you been giving your power away? That's causing you to what? Delay your business, delay your desires, which are divine and you deserve. When you think that you have it all listed out, ask yourself what else? Ask yourself what else? Everyone asks, what do I mean by aligned action? It means doing fewer things. What? Yes. More intentional with clarity and confidence. So when you are taking aligned action, it doesn't mean you're not going to mess up. Please let me clear that myth up. There's been so many people in the coaching space that are like, aligned action, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, aligned action feels good in the moment, but it doesn't guarantee the result. Sorry if I'm like putting rain on your sunshine today, but like if you don't hear the truth, no one else is going to tell you. Sometimes it's hard to say and even harder to hear. Would you agree? So making sure at the end of the day that you're taking the aligned action, you're taking the next step, and it's either going to get you the result or not. Get you the result, great. You learn something that works. It doesn't get you the result, great. You learn something that doesn't work. The key is consistency with the intention and then delegating the rest. Yes, you heard it. Delegate and hire out the rest. And at first, those things that support you in the revenue generating tasks, this is the key. That's what you hire out. How can you buy back time to make sure you are investing with intention into what's going to move the needle? What's going to build the momentum and generating that revenue? Otherwise, you don't have a business. And so one of my clients is at 40K months and is scaling to 100K months this year. He's crushing it. He wants to hire more sales reps as well, because that's part of the strategy, hiring that out. And I'm supporting him and his team. Shane has a consistent 70+% closing rate. He bounces between 50 and 70, but he's typically 70+. His reps bounce anywhere between 35 and 55 right now. And I've only been working with them for a few months. And they're already bouncing between 35 and 55 before they were bouncing before 20 and 35. How cool is that? The goal to continue this is to increase the closing rates and also add in more sales calls, right? And he's delegated out this for me to train his team and lead them on the sales side. They're utilizing sales codes. They've been working with me, and how we'll continue now for a whole nother year after the first few months that we made some massive progress. What's the result? Doubling his profits without increasing what? His workload. And what else is he doing? He's hiring out the front end lead gen. I have some connections that are helping him create very strategic new funnels that are converting at 80%. Whoop, whoop. 80% leading to phone calls. Who wouldn't love that? And another one that's doing some lead gen support through massive personalized connection. Again, he's not doing any of that work because he's delegating and buying back his time, growing to 100K months. So here's some practical steps to take with this. Identify your needle movers. Delegate or eliminate tasks that don't serve your vision or your bottom line. So everything, when I say needle mover making revenue towards the bottom line, not taking from the bottom line. And you're like, well, Jackie, when I hire someone, that's going to be a negative in my bottom line. Well, what are you hiring them to do? Are you hiring them to shine your shoes? Are you hiring them for lead gen? There's a big difference, right? Or are you hiring them to clean your house because you're going to take that hour or two to invest into sales calls? Schedule rest and creativity as part of your success strategy. Innovation scales. Innovation scales. Campaign scales. Hustle and grinding does not. This is how you avoid being a one-hit wonder. And then the last takeaway to the aligned action is ensure that every move you make propels you forward without burning out. And how do you know this? Well, if you burned out before, we start to slow down and just be aware and recognize the patterns. Hire someone like me, we can break through those patterns very quickly so that it is inevitable that it doesn't happen again. We are certain of it, right? I'm going to wrap this up now because we're now a little longer than I had intended, but I hope that if anything, out of all of these segments, you pulled a wisdom drop that landed for you, an intentional activation action item that you can now go and integrate. Don't just listen to this podcast and be like, oh, wow, yeah, she made some great points. Great. What points can you now take action on? And if you're a little unsure or you have some questions, comment. This is live on YouTube. This is live on LinkedIn, and there's comment sections. Comment there. I'm here to support you. Or we can hop on a laser focused coaching call. We can hop on a vision activation call to gift you that clarity you've been struggling to define yourself. So as you're thinking about your vision, not just for 2025, but what's it look like in 2028? What does it look like? What does it feel like? If everything you desired, you knew you deserved, and it happened, it was that or something better. Go there, feel it, make decisions from those feelings every single day. This is how you live from a vision. This is how you make decisions from a vision. This can easily happen in a vision activation call. Hustling is about doing more, right? Success in 2025 is about doing better, smarter, with intention every single day. Notice I didn't say less, because when you hire out others to do the things, you might be doing a little bit more in other areas. That is what? Moving the freaking needle until you hire more people, and you hire more people. Next thing you know, you have this empire, not only making great income and paying your employees very generously and bonusing them. How fun is that? Giving back to charities that are on your team's heart or that you care deeply about, or creating your own. Income is great, but what type of impact are you making? Because the amount of income that you're bringing in is a direct reflection of the impact you're making in the world. Not bringing in much income, not making a very big impact. Bringing in millions of dollars, making $1 million impact in the world, right? And then can you carry that momentum through 2025 and beyond? As I always say, what you're not changing, you're choosing. And what's scarier than change is regret. So let's leave the hustle behind. Let's detach from it. Let's quit making it mean success because it's not. And let's build a life of abundance and fulfillment. And it starts with you first. Because again, success without fulfillment simply isn't success. And in 2025, fulfillment is the new success. So what's your return on intention? And I ask you to ask yourself this. What one aligned action will you take that will actually bring you closer to your goals today, every day, eventually, and then weekly? And that's where the magic lies. So if you're struggling with like even getting some clarity around any of this, the quality of our life is directly related to the quality of our questions. I guide you over to use the 7 power prompts. It's a resource for the clarity, for the alignment, for the intention, so that you're pivoting, you're releasing. It's the CPR for your goals. Teaches you how to celebrate the mistakes and even the small wins, how to pivot when you really should pivot instead of doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, right? And then releasing the things that no longer serve you. Maybe you said yes to some things that were like, oh, after I said yes, it's really a no. It's okay. You can still honor your word. Go back and clean it up and just say no. But you have to honor your word. What type of agreement did you have? Make a new agreement, right? So one hustle habit, letting go for 2025. What is that? How are you releasing it and how are you holding yourself accountable? Or do you have somebody else to hold you accountable to breaking the habit? I love to celebrate this shift with you. If you've been wanting to work with me one-on-one, I have a 5-week sprint for 7 people only to do this work of getting unstuck, right? Or if you want to take it another step further for a massive commitment, 6 to 12 months, I have 2 seats opening up in January at the end of this month and 2 more seats opening up in February. Again, those are super limited as well. Once they're gone, they're gone. You can message me about any of these opportunities. We can hop on a quick phone call. I love personalizing the support. If you know me, that's what I do in my one-on-one coaching, which is why it's a very, very, very much breakthrough commitment of not just 6 months, but every month, radical things are changing and shifting. So if you're ready to scale your business or your success, AKA fulfillment without the hustle, let's chat about how we can work together. I'm going to leave you with so much love. Until next